What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to go over the trades that we took today inside the Discord as well as the game plan going into tomorrow. So today, this is what we ended up looking like here on the 30-minute chart for SPY. So we have the 690 calls, 680 puts for this week on our watch list. So you can see, obviously, on the call side, there's nothing here. I mean, the calls got absolutely destroyed going into this week. So if we flip to the put side now on the 680s, you can see the market did flip bearish today. Right off the open, you could see that this 50 SMA ended up curling up, and that established the bear trend. The 50 was up pretty much the entire day, so as long as we're above this 50, I favor lower on the market and on SPY. So if we look at the higher time frames, also we're sitting at that 1 hour 50, and then this 2 hour chart is kind of not that relevant at the moment because we broke above it and it didn't cross yet. So pretty much if this chart goes and crosses on the 2 hour, we're gonna go see this 4 hour 50 all the way up in here at $11 a contract. So pretty much today I did favor lower, and I was only focused on taking trades to the upside. So with that in mind, this is the setup we got, and we actually got a really good trade today on SPY. I ended up taking this cross, very clean. So we go to the 5-minute here, 0DT chart. We had these 678 puts today based on where SPY opened. So right here, right off of this cross, a little bit after 10:15 on this candle close, I was in this 10:15. The contracts were sitting around like 140 to 150. I actually bought these exact ones. I grabbed these 678s at 155, so right up in here, and this went all the way up to 268. So I think that was like right around 70%. I took good trims on that move lower, right around 260, and then as it started to pull back a little bit, I just got out the remainder for probably around like 30-40%. So that was a really good move off of that cross, and that was the only thing I did today on SPY. And then we ended up getting this little reclaim right here, which, I mean, a little bit funky looking. I mean, this 10 SMA was sloped down a bit, and then by the time the 50 ended up, or the 10 curled up, I mean, really not the best risk to award there on the reclaim. Not something I was taking there. And then we got this cross again. Puts end up crossing. The entry on this was probably a little bit weird. Probably not the best RR on this if you end up taking it, but not something I ended up taking. It did give a fat move, but only trade for me was this initial cross. That's all I was looking for. The rest of the day was just pretty much back and forth action, nothing too crazy. So we have CPI on Thursday, so again, that is why, I mean, one trade, if you get one good setup on the day and we get a winner, just gonna call it a day at that. I'm not trying to stick around in this choppy action. We just pumped it up pretty much the entire day. No real trend was established, and yeah, that's pretty much what we did today on SPY. And if we flip to the call side, obviously there's nothing really going on. I mean, we got this cross end of the day on the call side, but this is not something I'd be taking. I mean, we got these at what, like 30 minutes before the close, and the contracts were pretty cheap when it ended up happening. So the last hour of the day, I just don't take crosses then. It's just super high risk. They don't play out a lot of times because of theta, so not something I would take there. Pretty much no long entries today. No point in grabbing longs with the 30-minute cross on the put side, and then also the 0DTs were our entries, obviously, to go short. We got this initial short entry there, and then this reclaim, not the biggest fan of. Then we got this other cross, which again, not the biggest fan of, but you could have taken it 1.8 all the way up to 319, so not a bad move off of that cross. But yeah, this is the only one we end up taking. Going into tomorrow, like I said, market is still bearish. As long as this 30-minute 50 holds, I favor lower. So this is going to be the key chart to watch tomorrow. If this 50 holds, we remain bearish. If we break below this 50 and we cross negative, we're neutral. Most likely, we're going to see move higher and see a 0DT call cross. There's a setup for two sides tomorrow, or both sides tomorrow. It doesn't matter which one we get. Preferably, I'd rather the bears just hold this trend, and we get a put cross. That'd be like my preference, but really doesn't matter. What ends up happening, we're going to have a trade either way, and it's a good setup either way because the 30-minute chart is in our, it's a confluence to our trade on both sides because we have the trend right now on the bear side. If we go hold this trend and we go lower, the 30-minute chart is in our favor to the downside, and then if this chart ends up crossing negative, we have that to our advantage as well to the upside because this chart crosses negative, most likely the market sees higher. So it doesn't matter the trade we get tomorrow. Either side, the 30-minute chart is going to be a confluence in the trade, so that does help the conviction of that trade and the probability of that playing out in that trade. So those are the setups you're going to want to watch for tomorrow. 0DT cross either side, and obviously just monitor this 30-minute chart to see if we do hold this trend. I mean, the 50 is sloped up nicely. I would kind of expect this to hold. We do have CPI. Maybe I'm not sure if that'll affect if we get some trend before it, but yeah, that's pretty much the game plan going into tomorrow when it comes to SPY. And then on individual names, man, Tesla missed this one. This was such a clean textbook trade today. It tapped this 50 right here. We got a nice dip right off of open to the 50. Ended up getting eaten up. I didn't see this until I think the contracts were probably like right around $1 a piece, maybe just under $1, and I was not chasing that. I mean, we ended up ripping like 50% on these contracts, and then these obviously end up ripping over 100% in the close. So yeah, like 200% into the close on these 670 or the 475s off of this 50 dip. I really wish I saw this earlier, but it was pretty much right off of the first like 5-10 minutes. You can see we got this dip right here. Right off of open, actually it was down here first 5 minutes, then it wicked all the way up. You can see to like $9, and I think this is when I ended up seeing it. So unfortunately, didn't get our entry on that. But this is just a textbook dip on the 30-minute. I mean, when you have all these time frames over here, we got the 1 hour chart crossing at major support, 2 hour chart major support crossing, 4 hour chart is beginning to cross now. So you know, that was a really good 50 dip, and I mean, I'd be out of most of that trade already into the close, because we did hit massive resistance up in here at that daily 50 SMA. It could still break and cross, but not a bad idea to trim this into the close with us being at that major resistance point. I mean, you're already up a bajillion% off of that 50 dip. I mean, you could have played the reclaim once it started to look good right here at 1166. I mean, that did look pretty good once we got this closure, and yeah, that ended up ripping like 100% anyways. So Tesla, super clean trade. Wish we ended up catching it. There really wasn't anything else today. I entered some swings. I'll go over those when we close those out, but nothing too crazy. I mean, they're like a month out swings. AMD, Amazon. I think there was a decent move on like Google. If we pull up the Google chart on the put side, same thing with like Apple. I told you guys I did like this name for lower, and I'm pretty sure we end up getting a solid move maybe off of open, a little bit of a gap down. Yeah, I mean, this is nothing too crazy, but it did give a solid move. If you got this dip near this 10 SMA here at like 240, 250, I mean, these went all the way up to 425 off the open. Nothing too crazy, but it did give a solid move. I'm pretty sure Google had a nice entry because I was watching it and I was debating on taking it or not. And yeah, I mean, right up in here when this candle was, what candle was it? Might have been right up in here actually, 350 all the way up to $5. Nothing too crazy on that, but that's still probably like 30% or so. You know, SPY ended up just ripping into the close, so that kind of ended up pulling back Google. But again, this could still hold. Google, I mean, it was something I was eyeing, didn't end up taking it, but yeah. Hood, this was actually one I did enter today, but I took way further out expiration on this, so we did lose the 30-minute 50 here. I did want to dip on this, got it. I don't love the look, but I'm kind of just waiting to see if this 1 hour and 2 hour 50 hold here. So I know the 2 hour is starting to break. I'm more concerned or more interested about this 1 hour chart, because this 50 SMA on the 30-minute is still sloped up a little bit, where this could just go bounce and cross back up. So I'm giving it a little bit of time. I'm literally sitting like break even on it, so it doesn't really matter. I have contracts for like March or May, April. Yeah, so May I have contracts for. There was just a ton of volume on them yesterday or the other day, so I'm kind of just tailing those big buyers, whoever they were, and kind of aligning it with the system here, because if this 1 hour 50 holds, it'll probably just go back up, cross on the 30-minute. And with how SPY looks as well, sitting at major support, that's kind of another confluence that the overall market is at a crucial spot. So if SPY loses the 50, I'll probably cut it tomorrow. If it crosses negative, I'll cut it. But yeah, that's kind of what we're looking like on Hood. And then Amazon, maybe. I think there might have been another setup here on the downside. Let's see, where is Amazon? I thought I saw I know this is from the other day. I'm pretty sure you could have got your entry on this, but took a little bit to play out. These contracts obviously hit what, 482 today. If you got your entry on this candle, the closure 274, 482, not too bad of a move. This wasn't something I ended up taking, but I mean, a dip to the 50 here, not the worst idea in the world to take an entry on. So maybe tomorrow we'll get that, and you could possibly take this to the downside. 1 hour is crossed. What do we got on the 2 hour? Is starting to cross. The 50 is down, which doesn't really, doesn't help. And then the 4 hour is probably, we're actually right at the 4 hour 50. So major pivot point. It is very flat though, so I really wouldn't consider this too much of an area where we would reject from. And you can just see it on the chart. I mean, when it's like sloped down like this, major resistance. Obviously, we end up breaking above it back in here, but I'm just giving context to that slope of the 50, and then it flattens out right here. So with how that looks, I really wouldn't be surprised if it ended up breaking. But this daily 50 is what you're going to want to worry about if we get there at $8 on these, because that is sloped down aggressively. So pretty much you could look for a 50 dip on Amazon tomorrow. I mean, it came somewhat close today. Yeah, it came like 10% into that 50. So Amazon, not a bad looking short. Really all depends on what SPY does tomorrow. And obviously we have CPI on Thursday. So not going to be doing anything too crazy until then. If we get a nice 0DT cross, I'll take it. Probably just look for one trade for the day tomorrow and pack it up at that. So that's what we did today. If you guys want to learn, join the Discord down below. That's where I'm at all day, every day. That's where I share the trades. So that's all I got. I'm out. Peace.